Well, hello, everybody. Happy last Monday of October. My name is Shannon. I'm with the Albuquerque Hispano Chamber, and welcome to our webinar series this month, hosted and sponsored by the United States Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. So a big shout out and thank you to our partners at the USHCC, who are really working hard in the community across the country to take care of small businesses during this time through some CARES Act funding and supporting chambers that can support you and your small business. So I want to give a big shout out to Ramiro and team. And also want to say thank you to New Mexico Tech, our IT partners from the beginning of this pandemic back in March. And we couldn't do it without you. So thank you to Carlos and Matt and team over at New Mexico Tech. We really appreciate you guys. So we're getting towards the end of the month, and typically in October, we do our Hispanic Heritage Awards. It is by far my favorite event. I know everybody talks about gala, but for me, it really is Hispanic Heritage Awards. It is the one event that we do to celebrate the accomplishments of our membership and our members inside the community. So we thought there would not be a more appropriate way to get ready for those awards, which will take place on November 12th, a virtual celebration. Then if we talked to last year's winners in categories, so we're gonna do that today and Wednesday, catch up with them. What have they been doing over the past year? Let's talk about what they've been doing in their business over the past 7 months and really just reacquaint ourselves with who these superstars in our community are. So I'm so excited to introduce the panel today. All of them I can call my friend. I'm so thankful and lucky to have you guys as part of what I do in my life. So I want to start with, I'm just going to go in order of how you are on the screen. And so Sean, we're going to start with you.
Hi. Hola. I'm happy to be here. It's a little cold in my studio. Can you hear me okay?
We can. Sean, tell us who you are, who you're with, and what you do.
Sure, yeah. My name is Sean Wells. I'm a 5th generation Spanish colonial artist. I'm also well known for my Day of the Dead art, and I'm a proud member of the Hispano Chamber of Commerce. Yeah, I'm fairly new. These guys, I think they've been members for a while. I'm fairly fresh, but I have just been blown away with the projects and the support I've gotten from you guys, especially during this time. But I'm excited to be here today. I'm love to share my story always, but always glad to see all your beautiful faces.
So Frank, you're next. And actually, Sean, you've been with us for a few years, so you're doing good. Frank, you're next.
Hello, I'm Frank Holloway. I'm CEO, owner, distiller, Hollow Spirits Distillery. And yeah, I've been with the Hispano Chamber, I think, going on 3 years now. And it's my second run with the Hispano. So nice to meet you all. Looking forward to this.
Louis, you're next.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for having me, Shannon. Appreciate it. And I can honestly call each one of you guys my friends. Every time we meet, we always have great conversation and get to catch up with each other. And I just really have a blast when I'm around you guys. So it's really cool to have this panel and to be on a panel with such fun people. Anyway, my name is Louis Sanchez. I'm an Allstate agent, been an Allstate agent for almost at my 5-year mark. And during that time, we've done really well. We actually have 2 Allstate agencies now. We started out with 1 small agency, and we've actually continued to grow as time's gone on. And now we have 2 agencies, and we're one of the larger agencies in the Albuquerque, New Mexico area.
Well, we're actually getting ready for, like I said, the Hispanic Heritage Awards 2020. Now, last year, you guys all owned your categories. So I want to kind of just go around and talk about the categories that you guys are representing and kind of talk a little bit about how those categories came to be. So, Louis, I'm going to start with you because you won the cream of the crop, the top of the top category last year, Small Business of the Year. That is a big deal. All of our categories are a big deal, but you've worked really hard for that title, for that category. And so I just want everybody to know, small business owners, we've been representing small business owners for 45 years in our community, but we have given this award out for literally decades. And so receiving this award is really quite a big deal. Small Business of the Year. So Louis, tell us a little bit how you got started in the insurance business. And then let's talk about just in this past year, how you've grown, like I said, from your one store to now two locations. And let's talk about all of that and increasing your employees and all of that fun stuff.
Well, basically, I actually retired from the Albuquerque Police Department, where I did 26 years of service, and having a tough time going through a divorce at the time, and I needed to take my mind off of things. And basically, I decided to start an Allstate agency because one of my friends was retiring from Allstate, and I ended up with his agency after the fact, but I ended up with another smaller agency prior to that. And basically, I didn't know what to expect. I have never worked this kind of industry before. So as you can see, it was a struggle. I had no idea. I remember trying to pass an Allstate insurance exam, and I went to Allstate school, and there I was till almost midnight trying to learn how to write a policy. It was unbelievable, and the frustration and wondering if I had done the right thing or not, and just perseverance. I said, I'm not going to give up. I have to stick with this. I spent my money to do this thing, and now I can't stop. I have to keep going and keep working, and that's basically the way it is. It's just perseverance and keep moving forward. And I think one of the biggest contributors to how I've done is the amount of people that I've been able to meet during my time with the Albuquerque Hispano. It's just been amazing. I do get clientele from the Hispano, and we end up becoming closer.
So Louis, I want to say now, I always use you as an example because when we're out in the world and people always say, why do I want to be a member of the chamber? I don't know, what is it, what's in it for me? What's going to, all those questions that we get asked when we're out, really in full force working on membership. And I always use your story because this is the truth. Louis opened his Allstate agent and then called the Hispano. It was that, or it took over, I should say, and then called. And he has been a member since day one that he opened his doors. And I know Frank has a similar story too, but really, you were involved, Louis. You were in the small business committee. You have been involved in the education side of what we do. You've been a sponsor every year of our education awards, and you've really kind of submerged yourself in the chamber. So I want to come back to that in just a minute, and I want to continue going around because next I want to talk to Frank. Now, Frank has a unique story in itself. Frank, let's talk about how you got started, how you ended up with Hollow Spirits and in the distillery business. And then I want to talk about also how soon you came on to the membership and what you've been doing over the past year.
Yeah, so for me, I've always kind of been in the liquor industry, started a brewery, ran bars, helped Uptown Funk with another Hispano chamber member. And then a friend kept on kind of telling me every time that we'd have a drink, like, you need to start a distillery, you need to start a distillery. Then I really started looking into it. I was like, okay, I think this is actually possible. And especially with spirits are a little bit more fun. You get to be a little bit more creative, have fancy drinks, things like that, martinis. So ever since then, it was like, let's do it, and let's do it full force. Then what happened is I actually went to my mom and asked for a small loan, and she said yes, but I'm going to be a partner in the business. So my mom's the partner. And after that, I mean, I've known Shannon, I've known you for going on 6 years now. I actually met you within the first month or two at Red Door. And you're always a mover and a shaker. And I knew you were with the Hispano now. And so that's why I wanted to get in, because I know basically it's to make connections. And a lot of this job is networking and just meeting people. And the Hispano was great for that. So that's kind of why I contacted you as quickly as I did. And thank God, because we're actually coming on our 2 years here in 2 weeks. It'll be our 2-year anniversary. But we kind of say the first year, a lot of the Hispano kind of carried us through the first year, whether it was them, you guys having events over there, or having people from the Hispano who had met me come over here for dinner and different parties. But a lot of it led back to the Hispano. So the first year, you guys carried us. So we really, really, really appreciate that. And we owe you guys.
Well, that is number one, our job, first and foremost, is how can we help you grow, scale, succeed? How can we help to market you? So that's first and foremost. But second to that, yes, we were friends way before the Hispano Chamber. And I just want to say, Frank has always been so accommodating. I always tell this story because it's my favorite story. I'm not a beer drinker. And there I was at Red Door, hanging out on the weekends, Fridays and Saturdays, and not drinking because I'm not a beer drinker. And till finally one day Frank says, what gives? Like, what is it? So I told him what kind of wine I like specifically. He went and got that specific wine. And ever since then, I was sold. Frank has always been that way. And he always knew that my favorite spirit was vodka. So the minute he was about to open up a distillery, he called me and said, guess what? I have vodka for you. So it was really exciting. And it's been a great friendship ever since. So Sean, Sean is so unique in what she does. Sean, you were last year's winner of our Arts and Culture Award. That is the biggest part of what we do in the community. We are culture here in the community. We have such a unique culture, not just our culture by who we are and where we come from, but we're a 75% small business culture. Our culture is built on small business. We're not Seattle, and we're not San Francisco, and we're not those big cities that have these big corporate conglomerates. And don't get me wrong, we love our corporate partners. They keep us going. They keep our programs rolling along to take care of you guys. But we really, really concentrate on our small business owners here in the community. And Sean is not just a small business owner, but a well-respected artisan in our community. So Sean, I'd love to talk about how you came to the chamber and what you've been doing over the past year.
Yeah, thank you. It's thank you. Right. I think there's a lot of misconceptions about what it is to join the Hispano Chamber. I mean, I did think, you needed to be a multinational 50 employee corporation, or like, who am I? I'm just an artist who shows at Spanish Market, and what the heck are they going to do with me? But it was, I swear, it was less than 30 seconds before people were coming up to me with ideas about how they could collaborate with me. And I think that's what's exciting. It's not just a mixer, and it's not just networking. We've all done that and handed out business cards to have it lead nowhere. But, we do feel like friends, and I think we are also interested in just supporting the Hispanic community of businesses. And I think a lot of people have connected to me over that, because my art really focuses on supporting the Hispanic story and the Hispanic traditions. And so we all want to really keep those alive. So I feel like I'm a little endangered species, and they're wrapping their arms around me, keeping me safe. And I really appreciate that kind of love I get from everybody, that they just want to support me because they want to make sure we have Hispanic arts alive. And I think especially today, there's so much divisiveness. And I think I grew up with so much Spanish pride. I mean, I'd love to hear what the other business owners have to say about this. Growing up in Santa Fe, I was very proud to be a descendant of one of the original conquistadors, Manuel Delgado. And I just found out, I've been doing all the genealogy to trace back which place in Spain we're connected to. And it turns out I share the same birthday with my 8th great grandfather, Manuel Delgado, this military leader. He owned a place on the Santa Fe Plaza. I wish we kept that property. He had a place on Canyon Road. We were great at buying great property, just not so great at holding it, I guess. But I grew up with that Spanish pride, participating in La Entrada and Las Fiestas de Santa Fe. And now there's this whole reversal of that. And I have to kind of reconcile, as a Spanish artist and a Hispanic artist, a blended artist. I mean, I have mixed blood, and we're not pure. Most of us are not purebreds. That's part of the genealogy, is connecting to the Mexican roots and the native roots that most of us have blended in with our DNA. But just trying to figure out how I can have Hispanic pride in the cultural parts of our story that I want to preserve and share and promote. I just did a presentation on La Llorona and just telling that story, and how we all have similar stories about what it is to grow up fearing the ditches. I want to be part of the healing of our different cultures. And that's what was really great to be nominated for this award, was as a single business person who, you know, has a small platform. You know, I do local shows and I do have some recognition with the products I'm on. But something with the Hispano Chamber and having your name behind it and having the award that says Hispanic heritage, it made me very proud to be Spanish and to be able to be a voice to promote Hispanic culture and Hispanic art. But from a business perspective, it's like, I don't know, it's like having armor. You know, sometimes when you're an artist, people are like, oh, it's Sean, it's okay, she's an artist, she's got paint on her, and her car has a dent in it.
Well, you know, Sean, I have to tell you, first and foremost, you know, as a matter of fact, last year we do a series every month called Vacation Destination, and it's through our convention and tourism department, and we travel all over the state. We do these fun things. We take you out for a day to learn about the great things that are just a day away, and then we bring you back to the city to stay in a hotel and eat dinner and all that fun stuff. Last year we did a vacation day to the plaza to see you during the show, and it was amazing. Your artistry is just it's just incredible. And I guess for people that aren't necessarily in it every day and don't understand what it means, don't understand what is its importance to the culture, but I was so lucky to get to see you and, you know, in the process of your work. I also got to hang out with Adan Cariaga. I mean, there was so many people there, and it was just wonderful to see all these Spanish colonial artists kind of come together. It was beautiful, absolutely beautiful. And so I really, really admire your talent. It's definitely second to none. And you sell yourself a little short, because this young lady does amazing Dia de los Muertos art, Calavera art, and has actually been featured on wines across California with her bottle designs. So, I mean, it's a big deal, Sean. You definitely have to pat yourself on for that. It's a big deal.
Thank you. It was a neat opportunity, and the wines and the beer are still available at Total Wines all across the U.S. I still get people, you know, recognizing me from that and wanting me to sign their bottles. So it's a little bit like, you know, being a little famous. It's pretty, I'll enjoy that piece.
So what is the name of the wine?
It's La Katrina Vino is the wine, and when you put the bottles together, it makes a wedding scene. So a lot of people are collecting the entire series.
Well, you know what? I did not know that. I knew the name and I knew the bottles, but I didn't know it created something. So now here I go. I got to find the other ones now. Speaking of incredible bottles, I want to take it back to Frank. Now, Frank, I know you were the winner of the New Business of the Year award last year. That's where we award businesses in the community that are opening up and really looking to drive traffic. They're hiring. They're and many things while you guys have been in your space outside of just growing the business. I mean, you've done a lot of community work, you've done a lot of community engagement. So let's talk a little bit about what you've been doing the past year, some of the efforts in the community you support. And then I do want to just kind of tackle the white elephant in the room is, what have you been doing during COVID?
So, yeah, the past... Oh, what was that? Sorry.
I said I thought I lost you, but go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. If I break up, let me know. I could get closer to the router. But the past year or two, basically ever since we started, we've tried to help out the community any way that we possibly can, really. We are right next door to healthcare for the homeless, and you know, a lot of people see any kind of problems in the community and they kind of ignore it or just hope that it's going to go away, where we've never been those kind of people. Like, even if it's just a little bit of help, we try to help as much as possible. So we've been working with healthcare for the homeless. Like this month, we actually have something going on with a safe house to help raise them awareness for domestic violence, and so we're doing a show for them. We've worked with Pink Warrior House for Breast Cancer Awareness Month, selling bottles and donating for them, and pretty much any place that we really can help. We've been trying to raise any kind of money, anything we could do for the community. You know, we've been very, very fortunate. So as much as we can help, we've been trying to reach out and help people. Actually, Chef Rogers, Tristan Rogers, who's our chef and part owner here, he's in the process of trying to start a little charity for people in the industry. When it comes to bartenders, servers, people in the restaurant industry, there's a lot of drug abuse. There's a lot of alcohol abuse that a lot of people don't realize. We're the ones who kind of have to put on a smile for everybody and kind of ignore our own feelings. So Tristan is really trying to get some things together to try to support people in the industry and try to get people help where we're supposed to hide everything in our day to make other people's days better. So hopefully we can help some folks there too.
Well, I know how I'm so glad you said that, because that's the absolute truth. When you're in the public business, you guys have people that come in all day, every day. You're supporting so many different things in the community. It's always about putting on a smile. And that is what Chef Tristan does, is he puts on that smile all the time. So it's a pleasure to be around him. But I want to say thank you to you guys, because you do support so much in the community. And it's so important that when you're a business owner, you do that. And speaking of doing that, now, one thing that Louis has done from the beginning is he has said, how am I going to get involved? And, he'll tell you in his own words how blessed he's been to grow his business beyond a belief, ranking #1 in the state, ranking in the top 300 agents in the country. And I mean, there's probably over 10,000-12,000 agents, if not more. So I'm going to let him tell you about that. But the one thing that Louis has always said is, I am so lucky, and I work hard for my luck, but I have been lucky, and I always give back. And every year for 4 years now, we're able to call up Louis and say, hey, Louis, it's scholarship season. Are you willing to sponsor an award? And he, without fail, always sponsors our high school students with a scholarship. So Louis, let's talk about you being involved that way and how that has helped you.
Well, it's also, part of Allstate is a big company. Allstate actually helps us do these kinds of things. Which is really, really nice. And not only that, is like my first year, if it wouldn't have been the support from my parent company, I may not have even been able to start with an award. So I have the support of my parent company as well, which really helps me. But also, it makes a big difference when we can be doing something for the youth of the community. I think it's really important for us to be able to help out people who are going to be successful. And that's one of my main functions of why I like doing the education awards so much, is because I know I am going to be helping someone who is actually going to be contributing back to our community, back to the workforce, somebody who sees the value in an education. And it just really makes me feel good to be able to do that.
So Sean, first of all, thank you, Louis, and that we can't say enough about what you do to support us. But I want to move over to Sean now. This past 7 months has been really unique to anything I think any of us have ever experienced in our lives, much less as a business owner, entrepreneur, or person inside the community. That's always very difficult. I'm a very active person, as you all know, and not being able to go to events and network and do those things that we do to help facilitate the connections that we do at the chamber and just maintain relationships has been really tough. We've learned Zoom, but it's not the same. We've learned to use the phone more, but it's not the same. And so for you, Sean, because everything you do is so in person, you do your shows and you're doing all that. So let's talk a little bit about how you've transitioned and what you learned and what are you currently doing inside of this pandemic.
Sure. Yeah, I definitely love to share that, because there are so many artists just in full panic mode. And a lot of my business was invested in the live shows. I mean, I'm a pretty massive extrovert, so I kind of fed off the energy of the shows. And I knew right away, I was headed to Colorado for one of my biggest shows of the year on the day that the governor announced a shutdown. So right there that weekend, it was a $5,000 loss just overnight. So I knew I had to reformat everything right away, including selling to local shops. All the shops that were closed did not want to buy anything. They wanted to see what was going to happen. So I had product, I had an audience, and I knew I had to just put everything into online. So that is one thing I was very motivated. And, I just want to give acknowledge all of the business people out there with children on top of that. I think that has really complicated the process. We all love our children and our hearts are just weeping for what they have to go through with the schooling and our poor teachers. But trying to figure out how to be a parent in this is just complicated it that much more. But it's also my biggest motivation to make sure I can still keep everything flowing for the family. So I put everything into online right away. I applied for every single grant, every single little opportunity for donation, like anything that came across my desk. I stayed up that night figuring out how to apply. And that's one mistake I saw a lot of people making, was feeling like just started to make up excuses why they wouldn't qualify, feeling like the paperwork was too much, feeling overwhelmed. I mean, we were all kind of emotional, but I offered to help so many people apply for unemployment, to apply for SNAP, to apply for various grants. And I just fought a lot of resistance for people saying, I don't know where my taxes are. And I just muscled through it and found that paperwork, and I wrote a curriculum vitae, which I've never had to write before. It's basically like a resume for artists. And I needed that for several applications. There was a lot of homework involved, but I treated it like a job. So now I'm not doing shows. I'm sitting in front of my computer, putting together applications, and those are hours and hours of work sometimes. But what I realized was, because there are these hoops you have to jump through to get these grants and these opportunities, a lot of people fell away. A lot of really legitimate businesses that needed the help just got overwhelmed. And so there wasn't a lot of competition. And I did receive some early help with several of the more helpful, juicier grants. So thank goodness for that. But I would definitely encourage people, like, put your fear of paperwork aside and just muscle through those grants, because your percentages of getting these opportunities, especially the more local opportunities, not these national ones where there's 100,000 people vying for 1,000 spots. But some of these local ones, there's really some great support from the city, and you guys have been presenting those and keeping us abreast of those. I thank you for that. And then of course, selling online with my Etsy shop. That's been phenomenal. My little graph goes like this, like it did nothing for 2 years, where I just sort of like planted the seeds and walked away. And all of a sudden it just started going like this and like this and like this. And so it's been really exciting to just make my week tending my Etsy, promoting it online, and then fulfilling the orders. It's really become a little bit of a job, a fun job, but like a little bit of a pattern there.
So I think a couple of things I want to pull out that you said, and I know that Frank and Louie will probably mimic some of this. First and foremost, you had to get creative. How do you stay relevant? How do you put your name out into the community? And how do you continue to do all the work that you've been doing when you have to stay home? So, or live by the new guidelines in the case of, Frank in particular with having a restaurant, brewery, distillery category. And so one thing that you mentioned was you started a online platform. You worked hard to build your Etsy store. You did online classes. You're teaching to people online. And sometimes, I guess sometimes we have to look at the silver lining, not that, it is what it is. So we have to kind of figure out what positivity can come out of it. So first and foremost, one thing we've done here at the Chamber is we've worked really hard to support the creative economy. We have a new program coming out. Sean will probably be our first artisan on this program. We're looking to launch it probably in November, December, which is going to be an artisan program. We also started about 5 months ago, maybe 6 months ago, working with the Monday Morning Music. And that was all about supporting the local musicians who were playing at the distilleries and the breweries that have lost all of that income. And so we've been able to team up with the hotel industry, which is, the third largest industry, hospitality and tourism in our community. And they're really hit. So we've adjusted a little bit at the Chamber. And so we like to just say, we took lemons and made some lemonade, because we didn't know what to do either to support that. So we've gotten more creative. So fun stuff along the way. The second thing I want to say that Sean pointed out, and I want to kind of transition over to Frank and Louie on this question. Frank, I'll start with you. the monies that were available and or are available, what are businesses doing to do that? It is not easy. It is not easy to get your paperwork together, to get your taxes together, to get all of that stuff together that you have to have in order to qualify. But the people that persevere and fight through it will receive the money. And we've seen it happen. We've worked with hundreds of businesses since March to get that money in hands. So before I ask Frank that question, I just want to let you guys know, got a great text this morning, email this morning from the City of Albuquerque Economic Development Department, who has put out a hardship fund, a small business economic relief grant program. So if you guys have not hopped on there today, it came out today. So the three of you need to get on and do that right away. I'll make sure and you guys get the information. So Frank, I want to start with you. Let's talk about some of the money that you've been able to apply for.
Yeah, Shannon, let me just add to that. I've been flooded with that email this morning, but it is first come, first serve. So don't feel like, oh, I'll do it in a few days. Just drop everything and get it in today.
Yes,
your odds.
Sean is so right. It needs to be done immediately. The last time the city put out that funding, it was gone within like 4 hours. So this just came out literally, I think my email is 10:50 this morning. So less than 2 hours ago. So we need to get on top of that. So Frank, what have you been doing with Hollow Spirits?
Well, we've been applying for every single grant, the PPP, everything that we possibly can. There really is a lot of free money out there. And a lot of it, like, it's still sitting there because people aren't applying for these things. And it is a pain in the butt to get all these things together. But the good news is, as soon as you get it together for one or two different things, it's kind of the same paperwork, just in different areas that you need to do for all the remaining grants. But please, anybody with a small business, I know we're all struggling. So just fill out the paperwork. There is money and there is assistance out there to help with everybody. We've also got a couple of the government loans that they're doing right now, which is great interest rates. So the government is trying to help us in different ways in order to at least stay afloat during this time, which really for me, that's all I could really ask for, is that we survive during this time. A lot of the other things that we're doing, I mean, we're just having a lot of bottle sales. Our kitchen's actually getting prepared because we do feel like the governor might shut down at least outdoor seating, indoor seating here pretty soon. So again, we're trying to brace for that coming forward. But just to goes, selling bottles, selling food, whatever we could possibly do. Our marketing guy, Alex Volek, he's one of those people who's just putting constant content just so we could stay in people's minds. But right now, it's really doing anything we could possibly do just to stay afloat. I mean, that's my only goal. If we can survive, then we're good.
So, Frank, I want to just really quick. First and foremost, there was the PPP loan, there was the EIDL loans, the bridge loans, and then of course the cities and counties and federal government, SBA. They had all these loans. So in the beginning, you're right, it was overwhelming to navigate, but the money was there. I know many businesses that applied for everything and got everything they applied for, and so it's super important when opportunities come up to apply. And right now, Angelique, if you're listening back there, I just text you the link. If you could put it inside this post for the city of Albuquerque, it opened today. It's up to $10,000. I don't know the qualifications because I haven't had a chance to read through it. But I would say log on to that link that we're going to put in there and check it out to see if you're available, if it's available to you, I should say. Second of all, Frank has been amazing. You guys have, when the word came that we had to shut down indoor, you guys not only had the patio, but you expanded and then expanded again. And so let's talk a little bit about what is happening right now in the world of seating, minus the weather today. What are the state guidelines? What are the state guidelines for you that you need to follow when it comes to capacity?
So with the big spike that are recently happening, the governor did make a couple changes. We are still allowed 25% seating indoor, and we're still allowed, I think it changed to 75% outdoor. I need to double check on that. 6 people to a table, no parties bigger than 5 at a time. And we do have contact tracing that all of us are required to do. Please, that's another thing. Guys, everybody, we're just trying to stay in business. I've heard some incidents with with breweries actually, where they were trying to take people's information, and the people freaked out on them and were taking their rights. It's like, this isn't a matter of me taking your rights or trying to give you your rights. All I'm trying to do is follow the rules so they don't shut us down. So please, if you're ever in public, just don't be that person who's a jerk for no reason, especially to our servers. We're all just trying to do the best that we can. But with all that being said, I do believe in the near future they are going to stop indoor seating coming here pretty soon. And then with the weather being what it's like, I mean, we do have heaters, we have things outside to stay warm, but that's definitely gonna hurt a lot of businesses. And for me, thank God we have a patio, and thank God we're not considered a bar, because I have a lot of friends in this industry who haven't been open since March, and I really have no clue how those guys are making it. So we're extremely fortunate, but it's just constantly trying to navigate, and then every 2 weeks adjusting to whatever the governor says. I mean, that's really, we're kind of at her mercy, or their mercy, I guess.
So, Frank, you brought up so many good points, and first and foremost, I do want to give a shout out, just because you brought it up. You know, our friends Rich Baca, Bourbon and Boots, Carrie Phyllis with Salt Yard and FX. I mean, on and on we can go about the businesses that really have been closed since March. I mean, it is insane to think that you are a small business owner, you employ dozens of people, and your business has been closed since March. Not sure if the public is aware, but if you're considered a bar or a lounge or a club of any kind, you are not allowed to open. And we're talking about business owners that literally have not been open. They've had to let go of their employees. They've had to reconsider rent, if they're going to even stay open or reopen altogether. I can't even imagine. So it could be worse. Everybody that's out there, it could be worse. I want to say number 2 point, very, very important. And Frank, I'm glad you brought it up, because that's where I was leading. There's a new guideline that has been put into place. It's contact tracing. And I can only imagine the stress that is going to be put on the servers and the service industry over this, just like masks were in the beginning 6-7 months ago. And here we are now. You've got to give them your information. If you want to be in this setting, it is required. It is not the business that's doing it. It's not the owner of the business. It's not the servers. It is a guideline set forth by the state of New Mexico, and these businesses cannot avoid it. It is mandatory. If you have an aversion to it, if you don't want to give the information, then our best advice is don't go, because you put everybody in a really awkward situation when you don't want to give the information that is required. And then Frank has to come out from behind the curtain and take over. And so we implore you, wear your mask because it's required in and out of the facility. Please give the information that is requested if they are asking of it. Those are things that are important, and we here at the Hispano Chamber want to make sure these businesses stay open as much as possible. Frank, I'm afraid you're right. We may have to go back to carry out only in the near future, and it's got to be insanely stressful during the holiday time to not be open and not be driving that those dollars that you need to function. So we're going to stay tuned on that. You know, Louis, things are a little different for you. You're an office setting, so your guidelines are a little bit different, but still the same, you know, practicing social distancing and masks and all of that fun stuff. But I want to talk to you, Louis, a little bit about your growth. You know, you went through one of the programs that we have here at the Albuquerque Hispano Chamber 2 years ago, Avanzad, which is a program that is hosted by the United States Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, and it is sponsored by our partners at Wells Fargo, another example of a corporate company doing big stuff in our community. And they paid for all of the students to go through this program for free. And Louis, you are one of the examples of somebody that has come out of Avanzad and has a success story. So let's talk a little bit about how you transitioned Avanzad, first of all, and then how you transitioned into purchasing another agent's book of business.
Well, basically what happened is we were actually we were working, we were doing well, with the one agency, things were going really well. Of course, we ended up winning the Hispanic Heritage Award with the single agency and the growth there. And I want to say a quick shout out to Sean, because Sean's the designer of the award. It's a beautiful, beautiful award that I have inside my office. And I really appreciate it, Sean. It's gorgeous. It's gorgeous. I wish I had a picture of it right now so I could show it off. I would, but thank you, Sean. It's really, really pretty, and it's actually a 2-part award. It has a magnet in it, and you got to see it, but it's really, really cool. So thanks, Sean. And then I just want to say shout out right now to Hollow Spirits, because I go there. I'm their neighbor. My office is on Marble and 2nd Street, and I go down to eat right down the street at Hollow Spirits, which is on 1st Street. Gosh, man, it's walking distance from my office. And I have some great, my favorite there has got to be the drink is the old fashioned. And then I like that taco V with the elote. And then I also like your chicken Sammy. Is that what it's called?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. And if you want to taste the chicken sandwich that is so tender, I mean, you got to go to Hollow Spirits and have a drink and eat that food. So I appreciate you guys being such friends and great partners in this thing. But going back to what Shannon had to say is we're lucky. We're really, really lucky about how things worked out. I never knew that I was going to be in a business that was going to be an essential business. So we have been working, and we've been busy the whole time during the COVID thing. We haven't had to go through the things that you guys have had to go through. Sure, we were working remotely from home for 6 weeks, but then we're back in the office using all of our protection and everything else. And because, insurance and investments and life insurance is an area that people need to have, we've been very, very blessed to be able to stay busy and stay active during this time. And I just want to say thanks to everybody that has actually helped us. I mean, one of the things that really helped us too is we actually got the PPP that we use in the office right now from the Albuquerque Hispano Chamber. They actually did a drive, and we actually went down and we picked up PPP for each employee in the office, and we're still using it. And I still have my sanitizer here that I was given from the Hispano. So we've been really lucky about that. And so one of the things about the Avanzad program that I think is really, really important is that we got a huge network there. The network that we have for all the people that were involved in the Avanzad, we've actually helped each other grow our businesses. Then we also have individuals who come in to teach each section of that business growth. And this goes on for months. And so we would meet with our group, our cohort, and we'd walk through certain things together. And we would actually be able to give each other ideas on how to make our businesses better. If one person had done one thing and it worked for that person, and then the next person tried it the next week, we could actually see the changes happening within our businesses. And it's cool, because if I got advice from another person in our cohort who was attending Avanzad, I was able to build on that in my business. And then another thing happened is I ended up getting the opportunity to purchase another agency because the other agent was going out. And man, the Avanzad program helped me, because one of our instructors, who was a lawyer, was in the program, and he actually helped me put the whole paperwork, all the paperwork together to purchase another agency. And I just can't tell you how much positive things came out of the Avanzad program. And if there's anybody that would like to join such a program, it is one of the best things I've ever done as a small business owner, hands down. The amount of people that we dealt with, the instructors that were there that actually had the professionalism to keep pushing us forward, and then also giving us the ideas that we needed to in reference to hiring our employees, keeping our employees, all of our book work, starting from very scratch bottom of owning a business to being successful. we went over in the Avanzad program, and I'll always be grateful for that. And as a matter of fact, I also want to be involved in the next Avanzad program that's on right now, even though we're in COVID. I would love to get back and actually experience that again, maybe bring our cohort back, meet with the new folks, because I just can't believe how well and how much success I think I pulled from Avanzad.
So, Louis, thank you so much for that little plug. And for those of you out there that don't know, the Avanzad program, hosted by the USHCC, sponsored by Wells Fargo, is a program that takes mid-level businesses from $250,000 a year to $1 million a year that want to go to the next level. And so, Louis fell within that his first year and has grown. We had Cervantes fall within there. Cervantes, the jarring line, their food product line. We had Selena's Bizcochitos was part of that. We had Carnivore, Robert Mendez, and he'll talk about all his success. And North Bar Industries, who scaled over $2 million after that program. We could go on and on about the successes that have come out of that. And the reason I bring it up is because Mr. Holloway is part of the new cohort. And so we get to visit with him monthly as part of this program. And so I'm so glad that you were able to share that information. So Frank, next year, we're going to be talking to you about the benefits and what you've learned from employee retention to financial opportunities to marketing strategies. We do have really great instructors. We've been very blessed, and an example of programs that are available if you are a Hispano Chamber member. And so I'm so thankful to Louis for always supporting and pitching. And so as we wind down this hour, guys, I really, really want to say, first and foremost, you guys are, absolutely the epitome of your awards and your categories. I couldn't even imagine a better person to win the Arts and Culture Award. Sean is arts and culture here in the community. Frank, a brand new business who is still new, but growing and scaling even through the pandemic. Even making record numbers through the pandemic, that's amazing. And then you have Louis, who gives back as much as he can and still opened a second agency during this time. That's just amazing. We're supposed to do your grand opening, Louis, right at the beginning of the pandemic. So we'll do it now in 2021 because we still need to celebrate the accomplishments of everybody on this panel. So before we close, I'd like to just go around one time and just tell us, what is the one thing that you've learned over this past year? And what is the one thing you'd like to share with your fellow small business owners?
First.
Louis, you go first.
Well, I think the biggest thing that I've learned with being involved in small business is the fact that you have to be the first one there and the last one to leave. You have to be totally involved and 100% involved so that your people see you, the people that work for you see, and you set that example. And I think once you set that example, then they follow that example. And when you have a good example, and it's hard to do every single day, it's hard to get up, it's hard to set that example. But if you do it every single day, I think that you will be successful. And I think that's the main thing. And it helps with the employee retention if they see that you are working as hard as they are or harder than you expect them to work. I think that's my takeaway.
So Louis, thank you for saying that, because you have employees that you've had since the day you opened your doors. And so employee retention is so important to you. Talk about it all the time. And I think it's amazing that you do that. And you're right. The first one there, the last one to leave. And that's what being a small business owner is about. Sean, what advice do you have? And how would you like to close this today?
There's so many lessons. I would definitely support Louis' statement. I know the ones that I admire the most, they're really dedicated with their time. I think my lesson has been, and I'm a pretty adaptable person, but this is a whole new gymnastic level of, yoga moves. Just don't say can't. Just really push yourself. I don't want to do Facebook. I don't understand computers. I'm not going to Zoom. Don't put anything aside. Try everything and open your mind to learning new skills, reading. There's lots of videos to learn about whatever you want to learn about. don't let something like starting an online store put you off. Just hire the people you need to hire to get it done if you can't do it yourself, or just read and learn. And we're still, we're old dogs learning new tricks, but we can still learn and adapt. And that has definitely served me well in this apocalyptic year. And I just want to invite everybody. I just posted it to the Albuquerque Hispano Chamber Facebook page. I'll be doing a 1-hour presentation tomorrow night at 5 online. I'm going to be doing my sugar skull face paint makeup, and everybody asked me how I do it, so you'll be able to see the step-by-step. And while I'm doing it, I'm going to talk about the history of Day of the Dead. So I'd love to pack that room. So if you get a chance and you want to get in the mood for Halloween and Day of the Dead, join me for that. And it's a $5 ticket, but half of it goes to me and half of it goes to support this arts organization.
Thank you so much, Sean. We will be tuning in, and visit the community calendar at ahcnm.org to find her link. Just click on tomorrow's events and she'll be there sharing. Sean, thank you so much for everything you do. And I just want to say the awards were such a hit last year. I mean, we're still who did those beautiful awards. I know you're working right now with other organizations doing their awards. And I want to say that we also brought Sean back to the second year of awards for us at the Hispano Chamber. Going to change them just a little bit this year, give it its own little unique flair for the new winners. But we want to say thank you, Sean, for all of your incredible work. They are absolutely beautiful. We can't wait to share them with the community on November 12th. Frank, your final words and anything you'd like to share with your fellow small business owners.
For me, I would just say, don't give up. Right now, especially with COVID and with things happening left and right, we're knocked down a lot. There's been a lot of times where, I get emotional, I get tired. I'm like, screw this. But the one thing is, dust yourself off, get back on the horse and keep on going. You don't have to sprint forward. All you have to do is just get up in the morning and get stuff done. And we will get through this, and you just got to be strong and keep going. Don't give up.
So, Frank, you're so right. And every day is a new day, and every day is a struggle for some, and every day brings a new way we have to try something. We use the word pivot every single day. I use it on all my webinars because we wake up in the morning with the plan, and an hour in we have to pivot, or an hour later something happens. And that's just the world we live in right now. Your Zoom doesn't work. The technology goes down. Somebody did a show for an interview or a webinar. They can't log on, or the internet's down, and it's okay, everybody. It's okay, because that's how we live now, and we're getting used to it, and we're going to refine things and get them better. But the only way to do it is together. And when you have amazing examples, I can't even say, in our community, like Louis Sanchez and Frank Holloway and Sean Wells, there's no way that we can go wrong as a community. There's no way that we can't win and battle through this. And so I want to say thank you to you guys so much for everything you do. You have been the best representation of your categories this year. And as a matter of fact, your smiling, amazing faces will be on all of our marketing for this coming year. Now that your year is over, you really get to shine this year. So I'm excited to see you guys all on our marketing. We'll make sure and send you guys copies, and you might actually see somebody with it. So that's a little perk of being one of the winners of the Hispanic Heritage Awards. So reminding everybody to join us on November 12th, when we announce the new 10 winners in our categories. And Wednesday, day after tomorrow, we're going to be talking with some more of last year's winners. We'll go through the categories as well, and we cannot wait to see you guys on November 12th. And don't forget, Calavera, Sunday through next Tuesday, and I believe we're going to do some sort of fun celebration. So Sean, I'll be reaching out. We'd love for you to participate in that over the next week or so. So everybody have a great day. Thank you to our small businesses, and we'll see you guys on Wednesday.
Bye.
Thank you.